Carlos Salomon here. Let me introduce you to the episode number 3 with Georgi Nenov. I found myself in the city of Sofia in Bulgaria, a country of the Balkans. And I had the extremely pleasure to count for my first interview in English with Georgi Nenov, a famous podcaster, and really follow it in his country. I believe we connected really, really good. He had really the will, So he brought me good vibes in terms of my future, that it's okay to stay like I am now. I thought that this was going to change, the older you grow, the least you want to share, the more selfish you become. But he gave me hopes in that sense. Let me introduce you a little bit to put you in context. He started his career when he was around 22 as a junior specialist in the field of railway transport. Then he founded his own company in the same industry, transport infrastructure. Then more or less in 2013, he started working as a Lufthansa technique, in Sofia, as logistic specialist in this company. And back in 2018, he decided to create his own podcast. So that's everything to start. Let's go to the interview. Empezamos.
Bienvenidos a The Value of Failure con Carlos Salomón.
Hi, Georgi.
Hi, Carlos.
It's nice to meet you, and thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Thank you for the proactivity, because I like proactive people. I like when people say, "Hey, Georgi, would you be able to help me with this?" or just sharing a message or asking me a question. I always go back because it's my nature.
It's a way for you to live. Let's say.
It is. Actually, because the context here is that I have my own podcast, and I've always said, and I'm always going to be backing up this decision, that when people want help and support with their own podcasts or whatever I can help them with, they can just come to me and I'll help them.
Okay, so this is nice from you. For whoever who doesn't know you, who is Georgi Nenov?
Good question. Actually, it's my podcast is situated in Bulgaria. It's in Bulgarian. I only have 2 episodes in English because the idea was that people in Bulgaria needed inspiration. They needed to see that there are other exceptional people around us that are leading by example. And for me, it was like a local cause to support the people around me, to know that there are exceptional individuals, not only in the USA and Germany and Western Europe, but also in Bulgaria too. And everything started from a dream that I formulated as my dream is to help others live happier and better lives. And I realized that this has been my goal since I can basically remember myself growing up as a kid, helping others. Hey, Georgi, can you help me move? Can you help me store the chopped wood in my village? And I've always been there for my friends, and not only for my friends, but for my relatives too. Like the guys that just know me through a friend and it's a mission. So that's who I am, a nice person trying to help others.
As your nature, let's say.
Yeah, it's a realization that I came to when I was 29, 30. And I was wondering, what did I do for the last 10, 15 years? I didn't know that. I've lived it, but I didn't know it.
Okay. Okay.
It sounds like it rang a bell in you as well.
Yeah, I have so many existential questions, and the older you grow, the more you have. So I understand you totally, so that's why I stop a little bit to think about this. Georgi, explain me a little bit about your background.
Okay. I was born in 1986. As for the listeners here, the way to remember when I was born is the year and the month that Chernobyl exploded. I was basically born on the 3rd of April, 1986. My mother is a geologist. She's a science researcher. She works with stones. And the funny thing is, she's called Petya. Petya comes from Petros. Petros means a stone in Greek. And my father is an engineer. He's a professor. He's also a career in study, teaching and spreading his knowledge through his students. He's a professor in railway, so he's basically a railway expert, one of the largest experts in Bulgaria. And since I was a kid, I've always loved sports. I've played football. I remember one of my grandmothers saying, "You need to play volleyball." And I was like, no, volleyball is not my sport. Football is my sport. And I was chasing the ball, running after it. One of my grandfathers used to be a goalkeeper. All of my grandparents actually were related to sports in one way or another. Gymnastics, athletics. My grandfather was a goalkeeper. My father used to be a handball player. And one thing that I regret is not trying volleyball earlier, because I was in my high school when I touched the volleyball for the first time, playing around with friends in a circle, passing the ball to each other, and I was like, I'm very good at this. Why did I never find it out before? Because in football, I felt I was quick, but never had any technique at all. I've always been a simple player, pass and run and shoot and pass. Never had dribble, but in volleyball I felt like this is my sport. But I'm telling you this because sometimes we ignore other people's suggestions for things to test and try, and we shouldn't do that. I mean, we do it because we think that we know, but we rarely know everything. So in order to be sure, we just need to try it. Probably if I started playing volleyball, I wouldn't be here talking, and I wouldn't have had my own podcast, but it's something that I really want to go back and try what would have happened if I started playing volleyball. But I kept playing football. My father wanted me to excel in mathematics. I was solving a lot of mathematical problems, doing a lot of work on my homeworks. I've always had high grades, excellent grades. In Bulgaria, the system is between 2 and 6. Yeah, 1 is also valid, but it's for the people that are cheating. So writing off other people's homeworks or exams. And 6 is the highest grade. And since from first to 7th grade, which is the beginning of high school, is from 8th grade, I've had only 6s in my notebooks and in all fields. I've never been good in Bulgarian language and literature, but I've always loved reading. What I hated was the interpretation about what the authors wanted to say, and I really hated this because no one can say what the authors wanted to say. I mean, it sounds ridiculous to be interpreting someone else's words who've lived 500 or 200 years ago. For me, it sounded it doesn't make any logical sense. It cannot be checked. It's a point of view. But in Bulgaria, the system is that the main courses through your school from 1st to 12th grade are mathematics and Bulgarian language and literature. So I've suffered a lot, really. I mean, this was very, very hard for me.
Can you explain me a little bit more about the interpretation?
Yeah.
What was your point?
The point is, imagine reading a book by a very well-known author who had a massive impact on the culture. Let's say Don Quixote.
Mhm.
So Don Quixote is in the high school literature in Bulgaria too. What did Cervantes wanted to say? So the teachers are like, now write the interpretation. What is the journey symbolizing? What is he trying to do? So we also have Bulgarian authors which are very good. Most of them are not translated in other languages, so other people cannot touch on Bulgarian literature. But having an exam about what did Cervantes wanted to say and the character, what he symbolizes, and all of this, it's interpretative. So I once wrote an essay about Shakespeare's Venetian trader. I don't know what's it called in Bulgarian. It's the trader from Venice. And the quote is, not everything that glitters is gold. And this can bring you anywhere. This is an essay that you can write about everything. But this, it's not a literature in Bulgaria. It's not about essaying, about what you think it actually symbolizes or says. But what the author wanted to say is that you need to be absolutely certain that this is what he wanted to say. And this really got on my nerves because I don't want to learn by heart what others wanted to say, which no one can be sure of. It's like looking at the picture and saying, yeah, the author wanted to say that you're lonely when you're in another country. Or like, it doesn't make any logical sense. Maybe because I'm a mathematical and logical person. Maybe not. Who knows? But I hated it. And it's funny that I'm very cautious about my literature now and writing and spelling and everything. But
would you consider yourself a person who doesn't like people to tell you what to do?
I do. I actually do. Because I realized, I don't know, like 5 years ago, around five years ago, probably in the process of coming to the podcast or in the beginning of making it, that freedom is my highest value in regards to my life. So it's interesting that you spotted that quickly, but I don't like being said what to do. Especially in a hierarchical way. So, for example, my boss telling me, you do this, or my father saying me, you do this. He's been telling this my whole life. That's why I'm rebelling against it. But 2.5 years ago, when I left my company job, I was scared. But this June, when the second birthday came on the 2nd of June, 1st of June, 2nd of June, I was thinking I would never trade these 2 years of my life for anything. Because I've had the freedom to go where I wanted to go, to do whatever I wanted to do, and to wake up at midday if I want to. Not that I'm doing it, I'm waking up at 6 a.m., but one thing is when you decide to do something, another thing is when someone tells you to do it. And I, even with my girlfriend, when she wants me to do something, I want her to explain why is this important for her, and not to be because I said so. Because I said so is something that basically triggers me about I'm getting emotional and really not doing what other people wanted to do. Not to oppose them, but because I don't want to. Just I don't like being conforming to other people's agendas. If we this is my perspective, of course. If I always collaborate with others because there's something that's important for them is one thing, but changing my freedom into someone assuming that I will always be doing this, it's something that I won't allow. Because it's a scale. And on one side is you're a nice person. On the other side is you're a nice person helping others. On the other side is you're a total egoist and you're only doing things for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but generally you should be adaptive to depending on who you're talking to and who wants help, to be able to say, okay, I'm helping you up to this point, but not further than that. So I can help you with my energy and time, but I'm not lending you money because I have like red flags and stuff in my mind that information that leads me to believe that you're not reliable enough to be giving you the money that I need, especially if I don't have them. On the other side, you can be, if you're not aware of where this line goes through, you can be like hijacked by other people's agendas and what they want you and use you for. And this happened in my life too, a couple of times before I started realizing it.
But Georgi, isn't it anyway scary to go in your own? Aren't you like it's so easy to tell, right? But I guess as you found yourself 2 years ago, many people they really believe they can do it in their way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they still are afraid of failing.
Mm.
They still are afraid of what people think and tell about their ideas or their business. So what it motivates you, or how was the click for you?
Yeah, you'll be surprised, but a lot of people are scared of success as well, because it's going to change the way they identify themselves. They people, yeah, of course, the things that you mentioned are probably the things that really stand out. Failing. And failing is not a problem. It's not about the failure itself, but it's related to the other thing. What are the others going to say about this failure? And sometimes people are like, what am I going to say about my own failure? And a self-fulfilling prophecy is like, yeah, I knew I am unable. I knew it. I'm not capable of doing this. But if we've never tried, then we are absolutely unaware if anything can happen. I mean, let's take let's make an analogy here. There is a chance when, like, a man and a woman make love that they can have a baby, like they can become pregnant, but she might not become pregnant. I mean, there's a chance of not succeeding in there too. But it's not a failure. It's just how like the body and the life works. Some tries do work. Others need to be repeated again and again and again until it works. And no one is saying, I couldn't write before I went to school, and so I'm a failure. People like trying again and again and again, and this effort leads to progress, and the progress leads to results. I mean, can we say that Shakespeare, or like Homer, or any of the great literature writers was born with the ability to write? No one was born with the ability to write. And Stephen King had his books thrown in the bin, and his wife had picked them up from there. And he was not Stephen King before he was acknowledged for writing in an interesting way, and he's probably one of the best writers that presently live on the earth. But if he never tried writing, if he never had the idea of writing, then this would have never happened, and Stephen King would have been like Ivan Ivanov, like I don't know what's the most common name in the Spanish word, but
Paco Garcia.
Paco Garcia. So it's no one would have known who Stephen King is. So trying is like Mark Twain has this quote. You need to start. I mean, every greatness, like, you cannot succeed in anything before you've tried it. I mean, there is nothing you can succeed in without trying it. But we label things. It's like, this is hard, and this is impossible. And 5 years ago, people thought no one is going to listen to our long podcasts in Bulgaria.
Going a little bit more into your story, what were you for real risking when you started to do your own podcast?
Nothing.
What were you?
Nothing. Nothing was risking because
the comfort of your job.
No, actually, no.
Your status.
No, it was just the notion in my head was that I can do something parallel to my job that can help others. I mean, I was risking only not spending 2 or 3 or 4 hours of my week playing football or playing computer games or binge watching Netflix or doing something else or meeting my friends while I'm recording a podcast or while I'm preparing it or putting the Facebook post or like airing it. So actually in the beginning I was not risking a thing. I just wanted to see if I like doing it, if there are people interested in it and helping them. And the third thing is it was just the notion of trying something else and see if I like it. It's like you see a ball jumping around on the street and you see kids playing and you go and say, hey, can I play with you guys? And what are the rules? And they're like, okay, these are the rules. And you found out that you like doing it. And you keep going there and playing with them. So it was in my head, it never, the podcast as a project never appeared as a business venture, as something that's going to stand out in front of like thousands of people. It was just something that I like doing. And this is what I would recommend to the others. If you have something that you like doing it, keep doing it or just step up a bit. Put like 2 or 3 more hours a week in it, and at some point it is going to explode. It's going to I have friends of mine that started doing cakes at home, like homemade cakes with great ingredients, and they started taking the cakes to the offices for like office birthdays, and people are like, oh my god, I've never tasted something like that good in my life. And this is a validation of your idea, of your business potential, project potential, cause, or whatever you're interested in, that says all the time that you have spent doing it and getting better was worth it. So, but before it becomes a business idea or the notion of a business comes to your mind, it's still something that you like doing. And you don't stop doing things that you like doing. So, if you have something that you like doing, you're going to be doing it for your entire life. And not until I'm financially independent. If I am financially independent, here we'll be like filming and recording like at least 2 days a week. And we'll be spending like great time together, the whole like team, because now I have like 7 volunteers working on the project. And I want to do more of what I'm doing. So my perfect my perfect day would be I wake up in the morning, I go to do my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, then I have breakfast, and then I spend the day meeting great people or recording, and then I go to bed at like 9:30 or 10, so I can enjoy the next day too and keep doing what I'm doing. So this is what I have been doing in the last 2 years too. But yeah, I want to go back to the beginning of your question. I have a favorite like a business coaching person. It's called Dan Sullivan. He's the founder of Strategic Coach. He has a YouTube video called, not only YouTube video, but generally you can see it there, the 4 C's, how to always increase your confidence. And the 4 C's are courage, commitment, credibility, and confidence. So basically the courage to start, the commitment to keep going, the credibility that you built because you're still going, and then the confidence is like elevated when you know that you have the credibility to be asking questions, doing interviews, getting better. With every repetition, you're getting better and better and better, and this is something like an upgoing spiral. It gets you going and going and becoming better and better and better. And people are like, I don't like my voice. I hum too much. I use parasite words. I don't know what's it called in English, but words that don't have any meaning in the sentences. But when I started, I couldn't do it. I mean, I don't know if Teddy I have told you about it, but in the beginning, it was just I didn't even have the clip-on mics and lavalier mics. I just placed the iPad between me and my first guest, and we started talking. And then my girlfriend came and said, you need to work on your diction, you need to work on your words, the way that you speak, and it is a repetitive process. I'm like, okay, I'm getting better in this. I'm not humming, and in Bulgaria, it's different in different languages, but you know what I mean.
We both agree that we need a great woman behind of us.
Absolutely. It's empowering.
In terms of business, let's say podcast or your career, where have you failed? Before you start, it's difficult to admit it, right? In a way, or we have a taboo nowadays in society.
Where have I failed? I don't know. I thought about this, but I don't label my mistakes as failures. So I just label them as tries. Okay, I tried it, and it's not my thing. I don't like it. For example, before finding the podcast, I did 2 other things that were called in my brain tests to see if I can. So let's give a bit more context to the listeners. I was working Lufthansa Technik. I liked my job. It was stable. It was giving me enough money to be living quite well, traveling, playing football, and doing what a single person in a Sofia can do, like enjoying life. But what I lacked was the opportunity to be learning new things and upgrading myself, evolving. Then I went to my manager and told him, listen, I've been in the team for 1 year, and I think I understand how all like operational processes work, but I want to learn more. And he said, what do you mean? And I told him, I want to learn more. I want to know more. I want to know more about the company, the organization. I want to grow, not like position-wise going up the chain. I want to go sideways. I want to know more things. And nevertheless, I did not get enough for my personal understanding. So I started looking for ways to improve myself outside of work. And this included, I went to a software programmer's course, like beginners. And I was very good at it. I even had a scholarship, and I went through a couple of courses. And at that time, I already had my girlfriend Neda, and she was supporting me in it. And I told her, I'm really good at this. I understand it. I can think logically. Going back to the probably my kids' years when I was solving a lot of problems because my father wanted me to. But at some point, I was like, but I don't want to do this until like for the rest of my life. I don't want to be stuck in front of the monitor for the rest of my life. I don't know if you consider this a failure, but I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, I'll stop doing it. Then I started being spending time as a fitness coach. I was personal instructor. I was helping others, like 1 hour in a gym with someone, telling him what to do next, like showing him technique, keeping him motivated, accountable. But at some point, I realized that I don't want to be locked up in a fitness for 1 hour or like 4 hours with 4 people for like half a day. I wanted to work more on sales. I wanted to work more like on scale, work with more people. I've always liked customer service because I like talking to people. So I was like, I told the guy that was helping me at that time, the owner of the business, listen, I'm not good at this. I want to work more on like sales and marketing and scaling this up, and let's look for another way. So I don't consider this a failure. I consider it as a try that I felt that I'm not getting enough, like energy wise, not money wise, but just I was not feeling the way I wanted to feel. So all these like tries led me to the podcast where I found myself. So if we consider the others as tries, or we can label them as failures because I was not very successful with them, we can say that the podcast was the thing that ended up as a result because of these failures.
We can label it as tries if you like, but,
yep.
But you have learned from it, right? And we can consider tries, failures, doesn't matter, but there was a point for you or a signal that makes you stop.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy it anymore. And should I consider all my like previous relationships as failures?
This can go to the personal side.
I have a notion that there's a concept that it evolved in my mind in the last 5 years. I realized that everything that works in one field works in the others as well. So everything that works well in the field that you're very good at. Let's say you're very good at like fitness and being healthy and lean and everything. You need the attention, you need the time, the energy that you spent on exercising, preparing food, the attention to be like, okay, well, I need to prepare. So the things that work there work in the relationships as well.
So
business-wise as well, podcast and projects-wise as well. Absolutely the same things.
So would you say that your mathematics skills would work applying it into your relationship?
Not mathematics skills, but if you look at the time that I spent solving problems, if you consider conversations and like difficult conversations sometimes spent with your girlfriend, it's the effort that you put into it, the effort and the energy. So it's not then these things don't need to be identical as like names. So what do you do when you go to the gym? You say, I'm going to the gym, I have 1 hour or 2 hours. What do you do when you go out with your girlfriend? You say, okay, I'm taking this time off of my reading, podcast producing, fitness or whatever to be spending it with you. So the time that you spent on something or someone, it's identical. If you don't spend time with, for example, your business, it won't grow. If you won't spend time on the bench, your bench press won't go up. If you don't spend time on the running in the park, your times won't go like down. So your results, there won't be any results if you're not putting effort. So it's the same thing.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have been very good in mathematics. I wouldn't have been accepted in one of the best high schools in Bulgaria if I did not spend times solving problems. So it's because I'm currently listening to an audiobook. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He's a former FBI chief, leader in negotiations with terrorists, and he says you don't fall to the level of your expectations. No, you don't raise to the level of your expectations. You fall to the level of your preparation. So if you've never prepared, if you have not put any effort into becoming better, if you have not put any effort into speaking, having better diction, writing without mistakes and spelling mistakes and writing mistakes and grammar mistakes, you're just stuck there. And the only way you can go is downwards because you're not improving and evolving in a positive way. So it's the same thing with relationships. It's you spend time, you communicate, and you grow, and you understand each other better. You know what the other person likes and doesn't like, and you don't do the things that she or he doesn't like, and you do more of the things that they like. People are different, so you need to adapt. So in regards to my previous relationships, every one of them taught me that I am not happy with certain things, and I don't expect the other person to change them. I don't want to impose it. But these are unchangeable things because people are different. They have different goals. They have different growing up and education and the way that they were raised in regards to what the situation they were in and everything. I don't want them to change. I mean, I don't want them to change because of me. I want them to change because of they want it. And then I found Neda and realized that it's possible.
Okay. And about you as Georgi, when do you know how to stop? How to stop this try?
It's a feeling. It's a feeling that says it's interesting thing because we cannot keep our motivation very high all the time. It's not possible. Even when we go to the gym and we like the results, at some time we're like, okay, I'm feeling tired or I'm not feeling quite well. But it's probably, I don't know, I don't have a certain answer about this. How I feel it, I realize that I'm not getting any win out of it. Like win, I don't define win as money or anything material. In the 7 habits of the highly effective people, there's habit number 4 says, always think win-win. So whatever I spend my energy on, I need to receive something back. Like I need to receive something like I felt more energetic, a new contact, a new idea, something that brings me value. And I don't consider value always like monetary wise or just something that makes you feel good. Value is something that makes you feel like you're getting better. You're getting better in one way or another. Or if I find someone on the street, an old lady, I can help her with her bags, and the value that I'm getting is the fulfillment that I'm helping someone that needs help, and her thank you or her smile when I take her to her taxi or to her home. But I don't know how I stop. I just don't like doing things, and I stop doing them. I realize it. Okay, it's not my cup of tea, literally. When people stop drinking stuff and eating other stuff, they do it because they don't like it. It's the same thing in life. I don't like the way that I spend my energy working full time on something that does not bring me any value except for like paying my bills. So I stopped doing it.
Okay. So I guess you have an approach to problems or to failure that you apply the same logic, let's say, behind. Okay. Which is a little bit different how I understand life, because I adapt depending on the situation. But for you, like, we were talking, it just popped up the idea of a relationship, right? But once you are in your comfort zone in a relationship, how do you really get out from there? You know? Applying your logic, because I'm really interested in how Georgi approach failure and how he goes out and what he changed on him after this.
The comfort zone of the relationship. I don't consider the relationship as a comfort zone. It's I don't do it because it's a comforting. I do it because I want it, and I feel that this is the thing that brings me joy and brings me value. I mean, it's something that meeting someone that you can talk to and communicate freely and openly, and you can discuss everything, and you can see that he does not, or she, in my case, she does not put herself in the center of our relationship, and I don't put myself in the center. In the center, it's like us together, like both of us. It's like a system of planets with two suns in the middle of it. It's not like one person or like two halves of the sun bonding. We are, for example, now she's doing something that she wants to do. She's like doing a translation for her mother, and she can go out with her friends, and I don't expect her to be like, okay, would you want me to nurture you and come with you and help you and all this. I mean, she's a separate person. So my comfort zone was to find that there are people that are not dependable. They're independable. Independently happy and doing what they love doing. And in the beginning, I thought that there are no such couples, no such relationships. But ended up that I'm wrong. So the comfort was what others were thinking. The relationship should be full of compromises. The relationship you should be doing it for her. You should be staying with your spouse or husband for because of the kids that you've done together and you have together. No, if you're not happy, you're not doing it. And the comfort zone ends up when you're like, okay, probably the solution is, if you're not happy, this is the signal. Signal is, this is the comfort zone, unhappiness. So because
so for Georgi is
being unhappy.
Being unhappy.
Yeah. So because if you're happy, you can grow together. You can do things that makes you feel good. I mean, what's the purpose of life? To feel happy, to be happy, not to lead a life that's we don't need martyrs. We don't need people that are like suffering. We need people that are happy. Don't do things that don't make you happy. Don't work for people that don't make you happy.
And that was everything for the first part of the interview with Georgi Nenov. Next week we'll have the continuation, the part 2, where the conversation it goes a little bit more intense. See you then.